So thank you very much for joining me on Wise Women. And for those people that are watching this, please, do comment, do like, do subscribe to the channel because we're getting very interesting guests on, and it's really nice to chat with you. We did chat about 4 years ago because you interviewed me for your show. And what's happened? Tell me a little bit about, what is your background? Why are you doing what you're doing, and what is it that you're doing, Barry?
Well, insanity. That's probably the easiest way because I'm mad. I don't have any fines or anything, and I have no battles. I'm an ex-army, ex-police. Used to be a nurse, osteopath, herbalist, homeopath. I'm 78. I nearly said 79, but that's later on this year. I'm ex-everything. I got so many X's, Karren, after my name. If a school teacher saw it, they say, good God, somebody loves this guy, but all the X's, But anyway, I got fed up watching people. I got involved in law. I was out of interest about 15 years ago, and I went to a lot of guys who were fighting the system, and they're still banging their head, not off the same wall, but the same brick. And they're not winning in the system because there is no law anymore. It's all privatized in Australia, and it's the same probably in the UK, what I believe, in Ireland. I was over there in July and August. But I decided to go back to the beginning, common law, which goes back to Alfred the Great. And then, of course, in 1066, after the Battle of Hastings, William the Conqueror recognized the sheriff system, the reefs of the Shire, which became sheriffs. And I thought this is a great system. So about 4 years ago, I got involved with the Common Law Court in England, which was defunct because the guy got a bit greedy making money, and he got shut down there recently. And I think they're still going, but they're doing no court cases. But we got involved and we set up the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's office is independent. We're now members of the United States Sheriff's Association and a recognized sheriff's office. And we've had about 19 or 20 odd cases of law. We've got two ministers to step down when they were issued with the court summonses or the court outcome, like they're an indictment and a conviction. They step down from their position. We've had a little bit of success. We've got a bank in the UK. I can't mention the name of it because it's not totally set up. They're going to back us. But we work pretty well with everybody. There's no animosity. I've got 16 deputies here. There's another sheriff in Melbourne. He's got 4. We have a good relationship with the police because, I mean, they're owned by the government, and people keep pointing their finger at the police for not doing this or for doing that. But instead of one finger pointing forward, there's 3 pointing back. We've elected idiots to run our country, and that applies to the UK as well. And they're the ones to blame for everything. They privatized everything. But the sheriff's office will work with the police, no problems. We're not here in competition, and we've got a lot of plans for the future, and we have a great relationship with everybody. We made no enemies. That's the most important thing. Most people get involved in organizations, and the first thing they do is create enemies, shadow governments, shadow councils and stuff, and they create an enemy. And the term freedom is something which the statute system loves, and the term is free is liberty, and liberty, of course, comes under freedom. So we play ball with everybody. We've had a lot of success. We use the process of grand jury of 23, and the grand jury make a decision whether it's a case to answer or not. If there's a case to answer, then a summons is sent to the potential antagonist, if you like, and they get a summons to come before a jury if they're 12. The jury, how we elect juries, we have maybe 100 people turn up. Sometimes we've had more. Sometimes we've had 70 people turn up. Depends on the case. And we put 12 numbers into a box along with about 20 to 30 blanks. And a deputy walks around and randomly gets people to pick a number. So we get 12. Sometimes it takes half an hour, but it's a laugh and a bit of fun. And the jury move over to their seats, and then they take their oath of office, sworn in by the court secretary. They take their oath of office, and they take it very serious. They hear the case and they deliberate, and sometimes it can be hours, and it's really, but that's the jury. By law, they can stay there all night, but they come back with a reasonable remedy, and it's a fine or something like that. And then the sheriff's office, being an independent, not answerable to the Attorney General, or criminal government or anybody, can enforce that in many, many ways. But we have linked up with the Court of Justice in The Hague. They have accepted our paperwork, And of course, they're all tied up in war crimes, so we don't expect too much from those poor guys at the moment. They're well and truly overworked.
That is so impressive. I didn't expect that at all. So you're actually, I really didn't. I mean, I know you're involved in it, but you're actually walking the talk, which is what many of us are trying to do, but you've got a system in place. So you've got the jurors. How do the jurors, how do you get these people? I mean, they're members of public, but how did you first start doing this? And how did people come to you?
Well, we made it. I think we took one of the cases against Daniel Andrews, which was the lockup premier of Australia, right?
Yeah.
So we made that public. So the purpose of common law is to seek a lawful remedy. There's no heads of state here of anything. There's no committees, nothing. It's just basically we put the word out, we need a jury. And I think about 200 people turned up for that. And out of that, we picked a jury of 12. So that's basically how it worked. As I said, we're part of the American system. So you can see that's our badge. And the sheriffs, the deputies have round ones, and they've got uniforms as well. But the whole purpose of, you see, England is the origin of the sheriff, the reef. If why these guys are still out there fighting the system in England, I'd love to get hold of some of these guys and say, look, you come from the country of law. Get together, set up a sheriff's office, swear the sheriffs in. You see, the sheriffs, we had people come down from Sydney, 2 from Townsville, Queensland, right at the top end of Australia. They got elected and they flew down here and they went before a court case with the jury, which raised their right hand and took their oath of office. And each member of the jury signs that document, which makes it lawful. It's so simple, it's stupid.
Yeah, it does sound so simple. Because you're working alongside the system that is in place at the moment, your legal system.
Legal and common law don't mix.
No,
In common law, there's only 3 principles in the law: humanity, caution, and prudence. The statute system is fictional, and it's a whole new ball game. It's privatized, and unless you've got a lot of money, you don't win in that system. But we don't fight with them. We don't play with them. We just don't, we don't recognize them. We don't get involved with them, and we've got nothing to do with them. We don't need them.
So, no, we don't need them. However, as we go through this transition of creating our new earth, as I would call it, where we are under common law and we're in our sovereignty and we have the right to be free and protect our property and ourselves as long as we don't harm or hurt or injure anybody. However, when you get something coming through the post, let's say you've driven too fast in one of their, jurisdictions, and they send you a notice asking for money, how would you defend that or protect your property or your right not to pay?
I like that one. We've set up, this here is a symbol which you can iron on. Instead of giving people pullovers and stuff, when we can send them out a patch and they can iron it on. That's an idea anyway. But as far as property is concerned, right, I'll take my phone up here. I'll give you an example of that. This is just a phone, right? Remember, possession is 9/10 of the law.
Of the law.
Everybody understands that. But I've asked this question in the statute system to the court. And I said, I've asked the lawyers, who owns the other bit? And you know what? They don't know. Well, the other bit, the other 10/10 is a receipt for the phone. So if I got the receipt and I'm in possession, I own it. Now, property is when the Crown was removed here in Australia, because we are an unlawful republic since the Act of 1986. Gough Whitlam started it off after years, since 1949. Then they got back here in 72 and they started removing the Crown. So this Australia is an unlawful republic.
And sorry, Barry, just I didn't hear who you said. You said somebody started it off and I missed the name.
Gough Whitlam. In
Okay,
1972, the last time the Labour Party was in power here was in 1949. So they were in the wilderness for a long time. But as soon as they got back in and they're here today, they have destroyed this country intentionally and on purpose, right? We are an unlawful republic. So they didn't get the way in the last referendum for local government, so they privatized everything, right? But common law is bound since Adam and Eve. Well, probably later on. I forget what I was saying now. I forgot where we were.
Sorry, that's because I interrupted you. I was talking about the PCS.
Land.
Yes.
That's where we were. Okay. Yeah. Now, land title office was sold in 2019 and it was privatized. The last of the government, whatever they like to call them, right? So what we've done here now, we've issued a certificate of title from the common law court. It has the seals on it as well, so it's a lawful document. And as one woman was being evicted last year in March, or correction, January the 28th, and the court, we produced that certificate of title, and the bank went, gave her 6 months grace. Well, they haven't bothered ever since, because when she got the certificate of title for something, you're in possession and you can't be kicked out. And it's a long story. The banks actually lend you nothing, and I'm sure you know all about that now, and a lot of people do. There's lots of videos around to prove it. But anyway, that woman is still in the house, and that was last year in January the 28th. So we stopped a few evictions by issuing certificates of title for the property, and it's recognized by the court and by the people, the common law court and the sheriff's office, and it's got the seals of the sheriff's office and the court. So there are lawful documents, and that overrides statute documents. If they want to go any further, they'd have to go to the Supreme Court and most people say, well, show us the copy of the contract. Well, in a mortgage, there is no contract. It's just an agreement, and you cannot enforce an agreement in the statute system, because all agreements and contracts are common law.
It's simple.
Too simple. That's why you can't get them involved in it.
No, it is simple when you know. I mean, I'm learning bit by bit. The way you've explained it is very clear. But again, I have all these questions that pop up, because you are talking about the alternative system to that which we are living in, which is the statute, which is we are living in a corporation. I understand that, and we are having to take ourselves and our awareness and the fear. I think the fear is a massive part, because we're so used, especially in the UK, because we're so bloody polite. We stand up and queue up and sorry, oh excuse me, thank you. We do what we're told in the UK generally. That's the way we're brought up, polite manners and all that sort of stuff. So when we have to fight the system or somebody in a uniform, it's a bit scary. But that's I think my where I'm trying to come to from this is I understand what you're doing. Everything's in a common law, jury, all that kind of stuff. That's great. But when you are still in that system, how do you cross over? How do you get out of that statutory, those penalties, those notices? You just ignore them, or you send the common law documents, you send the sheriff. What happens there?
Well, in the statute system, you can't ignore any of their paperwork, because it's commerce. You can't ignore it. You've got to fight it in their system. But there's people here who have arrested magistrates and stuff, and that's the next step, where you actually arrest them. But what we've done here with a couple of corrupt law enforcement people, and as I said, we have a great relationship. Someone got really badly affected during the lockdown period of time. And of course, that has made everybody subdued. There's no people just don't care about people anymore. Everything has changed. The whole place has changed. They have taken private summonses out in common law against these offenders, and they were up for fines and stuff, which we can take. And down the track, that is what we'll be doing this year, is taking liens on their property through common law, because everything is common law, whether you like it or not. All contracts is common law. So we're going to take liens on these people's property, and that will slow them down where it hits them in the pocket. We have the lawful right to go and repossess their property and repossess anything they own if we like, but we're not big enough to do that yet, and we'll do one step at a time. This year we've got a bank from the UK behind us, which is really good. I can't mention the name of it before, but it's a well-known bank, and they have a community where you can come in and join the common law court, go into the common law court, get a link to their bank, and you get 27% return discount, 27% every quarter back into your bank account. So everybody makes money out of it, and everybody's happy. So people say, how do they do that? Well, MasterCard only get 49%. The rest goes into flybys and stuff. But this particular bank shares the money with the community and the common law court and other communities they're helping as well. So that's going to be good, and it will help us in a big, big way. The thing is, if big groups get together, they're easy to knock down. But the thing with common law is there's no committees, and there's nobody. It's just people in the wind. They come together to get a lawful remedy for a problem. And you guys can do it. You can set up. You could be elected in your town as put yourself up for election. You only need 100 people to say yes. Karren is now a sheriff elect, and then you get in, ring in 20, 30, 50 people, and you pick a jury, swear the jury in, and then this jury is lawfully sworn in. and then you take your oath of office in front of those people, and they sign your certificate. We have all that here on the wall and stuff. Sign your certificate, and then you're lawful an elected sheriff. You're the reef of the shire, right? And then you pick some deputies. They do the same thing. They take their oath in front of that, and they're deputy sheriffs. It's like a sheriff in America. There's a lot on my channel. There's a lot of stuff about sheriffs, right? Because I had all a learning process. One sheriff said, "There's so much crime in my county, and if the town, because the police run the small towns and stuff, he says, I will deputize every lawful gun owner in this state, and we will put an end to the crime." So the sheriff has that power to do that. So it's an interesting stuff. And England is the place where it all comes from. And you've given up on your history.
Well, some of us haven't. I mean, that's the thing. I know a lot of people are deserting the sinking ship, although, you know, it's not a sinking ship, because I know it's where it started. And I think it's where it's going to end. And those of us that are in the know, that are buggering off to Portugal or Spain or whatever, I get it. It's hot and sunny for a start. But I think come and, you know, stand by your roots and get this sorted out, and then go and live in a nice sunny place. Anyway, that's just by the by. It's just I feel it's a lot of people saying, you know, broken Britain, we're going, but it started in Britain, and we've got to fix it. You know, we have got to fix it. It's interesting. I didn't know about the reefs and the shires. I think that's really interesting. Sheriff comes, you know, from shires, Wiltshire, and all the shires that we have. And I keep thinking of the Hobbit. And now when you're talking about guns, you take me back to like the cowboy and Indian westerns, you know, where the sheriffs come and just deputize. It kind of goes back to that, doesn't it? It's so simple.
1635, common law went to America, and the first sheriff was elected. The second sheriff in the same year, 1635, was a very famous sheriff. He was sworn in as an elected sheriff, and since then they continue the process. And when they brought out, you know, they're trying to get rid of guns, the sheriff says, no, it's not lawful. And the same with during the COVID thing, he says it's not lawful, and therefore we won't enforce it. And that's the power, because an office of the sheriff, a sheriff is an elected official. You see, they can't get rid of a president. They can't get rid of anybody who's elected, because it's an office. If you're just working for the government, like the police department, like Myers, all the big stores have got departments. They can change the heads of that department or the flag, just like that. But a sheriff is elected, and they can't get rid of him, and he can do wherever it is, so long as it's lawful.
So when you're setting these up, because I've been talking to somebody recently about dominions, is this the same sort of thing? Like when you're creating a sheriff and you know, a lawful jury, does it apply to a certain area, like a dominion, or is it like as we have in the UK, the parish councils? How does it work? What is your area in your shire?
Well, we've done Australia wide, but as there's another sheriff like not too far away from me, about 40 kilometers away, right? Well, then we work together, and if we had, like in Melbourne alone, say there was 30 sheriffs in Melbourne, we'd just look after different areas. So, but we'd all work together. And what happens then is you have a sheriff, like I'm at my age, I'd love to hand over to other people. I've got people in like training, if you like. It becomes a high sheriff or a grand sheriff, which is the grandfather. He just helps and advises the others, helps them what to do, and shows them what to do.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to do, because I'm getting too old for this crap, right? So I will never give up till it's set up, even if it's a pain in the bum. But that England is, I mean, your history there. So if you live in anywhere in wherever town you live in, there's no reason why you can't get elected as a sheriff by the people, sworn in by that group, and then you carry on from there. You see, I just watched tonight. There was up in Queensland. There was so we're up to our eyeballs in crime here, because the police are under enormous pressure. They get no help, and now of course they can't even get police, because nobody wants to be a policeman or a policewoman these days. And the community have stood up and said enough is enough. So they're doing their own patrols in an area, and they've stopped the crime. But if they did it properly, like to an officer, sheriff, and a common law court, and then an eviction, say you're having an eviction there today or tomorrow, you could say 50 people turned up or 100 people turn up, they can take their oath and be sworn in as deputy sheriffs for the day, just like a posse. That's where it comes from. When somebody in England ran away, stop crime, stop thief, you know, they were called posses.
Yeah, indeed. We did have something set up by Mick Stott, who set up Guardians 300 at the beginning of this.
Mick's a friend of mine.
Oh, you know Mick. So yeah, there you go. So we have started it, or we did start it, but it kind of, I don't know, I guess it fell by the wayside, or it, yeah. The idea is there, but I think we need to come together and do something.
Yeah, Mick's a great guy. I know Mick very, very well. I saw him in August or July of August when I was over there.
Yeah,
a great guy. He's done a lot. But I did mention the sheriff's office to him, but we didn't have a lot of time. But I think this is the only way to go, because the common law court was set up by John Smith, and John Smith was doing court cases, but they set up peace officers, peace constables, and this really, what you're doing is bucking the system. So they should have gone back to the origins of the law.
Yeah.
Humanity, caution, and prudence. You need sheriffs to enforce the law, and there's nobody needs to go around chasing after people. It's just seek a lawful remedy for a problem. And people, if someone comes to us and they have a claim against somebody, we have mediation. And then if we have cameras there, people, sometimes it gets sorted out in the office, and if not, then we issue a summons, and it goes before a jury of 12. They get sworn in and they make a decision who's right and who's wrong, and give back the motor car or the motorcycle to that particular complainant because they own it, and that's simple.
Yeah. No, it is, and it's fair. It's fair and it's just. And I remember many years ago, I was invited to be a juror, and a lot of people around said, "Oh my God, you don't want to do that, do you?" I said, "Of course I do. You know, it's a responsibility, and also it's interesting, if nothing else. But it gives whoever is being convicted of the crime, it gives them a fair trial. And I know a lot of people are fearful of being jurors, but this is what we need to do. We all need to step up and take part in running our communities, which I think is what you're saying."
Yeah, well, the juries, there's two types of juries, and the common law jury is the right one, because you have a jury trial, which they just say guilty or not guilty, and then the system says what they're going to do with them. For a trial by jury, which we do in common law, is the jury makes a decision on the penalty, not the judge.
Right, so you don't, not the judge. So the 12 people sitting there, they decide, what, absolutely. Which again, if you're going into the other system, which is one that, it's one person that makes a decision with a thing on his head, usually, a wig. So, and then all that, when you go into all the actor stuff, you know, the clothes that they wear, I know that's for another day, because
I call it the Penguin Society.
Why do you call it the Penguin Society?
Well, they're all dressed up in black. I mean, I remember the Supreme Court. I was there. I went in to get some information. I pretended I was just visiting, you know, and they just appointed a new CEO of the Supreme Court. And I mean, really, it's a giggle. And then you have all these penguins walking around outside enforcing the law. I mean, they're just laughing at us. They really are laughing at us. I mean, really, and it's sad, but the people are paying for it.
Well, that's right. And we're suffering. I think everybody, I don't think there's anybody sort of, you know, that is on our side, knowing what we know, having a good time at the moment. You know, everybody is suffering financially or health-wise or all sorts of stuff. Well, we're being challenged big time. So we should step up, you know, and I think to be challenged is one way of making us do something, because as they say, first they came for the, you know, well, I won't go into all that because it gets a little bit tricky.
You got to be careful what you say. You got to be careful what you think.
Well, that's right. You have, because I'm thinking when I described the cowboy and Indian film, I think, oh gosh, I said that. I meant the Western movies, you know, but I thought, oh, I've got to edit that. But that's what it was. We grew up with, oh, you know, kids, cowboy, I'll be the Indian.
Well, anyway, we have to changed so much. I mean, I lived in England in the 60s, I came out of the army in 66. I was a special constable in England and stuff. I mean, you could walk into one job on a Monday afternoon and say, I don't like it, and start a new job. Everybody had a job. Yes. And then the Lima Agreement came in here, and all the jobs went overseas, and England and Ireland. And now they create new jobs, but they're paper hat jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And we let it happen.
Also, the thing is, people don't want to do the jobs. You know, they don't take pride in the job. And like you said earlier, since we've had this thing that happened 4 years ago, and the furlough and what have you, people don't want to work. You know, and the attitudes of people has changed so much. There's so much disrespect for, you know, you go to a shop, it's either shut or then they don't care. It's really gone downhill, but I think that's intention, isn't it? So
intentional. Everything they've done is accidentally intentional.
Yeah, they're very, very clever.
Well, they've
You
been
know, if you,
well, they've been out since Yakla, a place in Russia after the war when they got the three heads of state got together, then the United Nations. They've been
yeah,
this has been coming since 1940,
if
45.
not before, if not
Uh,
before, you
well,
know, way back when. But
well, we had
it's
two
very
turfy
clever.
wars, bullshit wars that weren't both sides were
That's
backed
right.
by the same people, But we let it
Exactly.
happen. We let it happen.
Exactly. But it's so incredible. It is so incredible. It's too credible to believe for many people. And I know over the years when we've had discussion, even before this 4 year period, way back when many of us knew what was going on, and you would try and say, well, wars are manufactured, or the weather's being manipulated, and that what? Are you mad? But now it's so apparent. It's just so there, and there's so much information. So they really need to open their eyes and join the party. And like you say, create these shires and sheriffs. There is action happening in Victoria, is there not, though, with a lady called Monica Schmidt, who's taking the police to court?
No,
No?
no, I know.
Oh,
I've met Monica a few times. Monica had done a lot during the lockdown. She got herself locked up, and she
yeah.
did a lot of good stuff. But it was all to get into politics. And I've seen she's got a court case coming up against the police here now, and I think her husband and her at the time they wanted to get into politics, and they did good work, but again, you can't go around fighting the system with water pistols, you know what I mean, or plastic knives and forks, and expect to win. You need in that system you need an enormous amount of money because a solicitor or a barrister can take $100,000 off you, put it in his pocket, and the job is done. Even if you
Yes.
just there's no guarantees, and that's without really a lot of money behind you, you're not going to get anything. She has some court case. She's taken the police to court, but that's just water off the duck's back. I mean, the police can afford to pay a few dollars if they're found to have to, but it's again banging your head off the same wall and expecting a different outcome. The only thing is, and I think everybody mentions people power.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the people power without a system is useless. So the people power behind a sheriff's office and the common law court, they take charge. They bring the charges. They lay the charges. They pick a jury out of a large group of people, and they swear them in. And then they put the case. Whoever has got the case comes up and speaks to the grand jury. They present their case to the grand jury. Look, this is what happened to me. The grand jury they make a decision. They only need a majority of the 20. They don't even, yeah, they need a majority of the 23, but usually the 23 juries come up with the same conclusion. Yes, there's a case to answer. And then they go before a jury of 12 and then enforce it after that. And
Mm.
all this fighting the system and demonstrating, unless if there's 6 or 7 million people in Victoria and 1,000 people demonstrate, what are you doing? Just being called an idiot. I mean,
Yeah.
sadly, that's the way it is.
So you think if we had these sheriffs in all these areas, whether they're council or shires or dominions or constituencies, if I don't know what the term is, I don't know if
Well, a
that's their
sheriff or an area, it
or
doesn't
an
matter.
area.
Yeah.
And so surely that would have to work alongside the statutory system in which most of us are living at the moment.
No,
Now, I say
nothing.
alongside until we jump ship.
No,
How do you?
absolutely nothing to do with them. You can decide tomorrow that you want to set up a sheriff's office. You want to be a sheriff. You tell as many people to turn up at a meeting. All those people in favor of me being a sheriff. Yes, now you're elected. And then
Yeah,
you need a good group of people, preferably people that don't even know you, to come in and pick a jury of 12, swear them in. We have all the people. We can help you as far as that goes. Swear them in.
yeah,
Swear the jury gets sworn in. Then it's a lawful jury, and then you take an oath that you will uphold the law. There's a special paper stuff to do. You sign a document as well, and then they sign on your certificate of appointment. I'm looking on the wall to see what's written on that
yeah.
one, and then each juror sign it. That's lawful. You've been elected by
So
the people.
I understand that, but I'm just thinking further down the line. Let's say somebody, this is just a scenario I'm going to make up. Somebody robs my house. First of all, you've got to go and find that person, the robber. So who is responsible to finding that person? Let's say he's found. You just happen to bump into him around the corner. So you make a citizen's arrest or a lawful
Oh,
arrest.
right. Exactly. No, if you're a sheriff, you make a lawful arrest. You see,
Okay.
all arrests, assault is common law assault. They don't use those words, common law assault, common law everything. A citizen's arrest, You can't have a citizen only in a republic. So in England, you're not a citizen in England because it's not a republic. So you
Yeah,
just you make a lawful arrest. Now they have
right.
different numbers, Section 458 of the Crimes Act here in the statute system, but it all comes from common law. In England, they used to stop thief, run after them, and the people, every able-bodied man was supposed to chase after and apprehend that criminal and take them before justice. Now, justice is just another word for no law or a fairness, which that's what's supposed to mean, fairness, but it doesn't. It's nothing fair about it. That's all it is. It's so simple. People would rather go. It's like people want to go from London to Scotland. They go through Birmingham and round the back way, around the coast,
Yeah,
because people
around the
go the
campuses.
long way around to everything.
However, so then, Barry, let's say, so you now have, you've got this criminal or this burglar, we don't know, or robber, because you don't know if he hasn't been tried yet. Is that still the same word?
Well, you must find them committing. You see, even as a citizen's arrest, if you like, you can't just arrest somebody on suspicion as a citizen, if you like. I don't like the term citizen because citizenship is all to do with ships, birth, ships, every relationship. It's all to do with maritime law, right?
Oh, citizenship. Okay, I like that. I've just learned that
Everything
one.
is a ship. It's all doctor, doc, everything, ward of state. It's all their terminology, which they love us to use because we're playing their game. You arrest
What's
them.
what's the ward of state one? Where does that come into maritime
Well, a
law?
ward of state. You see, when you're born, a child is born, it's registered, so it becomes the property, and a trust is set up from the IMF and so on and so forth. And then if apparently if you look after your child and you don't beat it up, they let you keep it for 48 days. After that, they can take it off you anytime after that. So they own them because it's registered. Anything that's registered belongs to who you're registered with. So a ward of state.
I was just thinking of the terminology. I was trying to think of ward and state as in maritime law. I was trying to think, I get ship, I get dock, I get berth, I get canal, I get all these other words, but I couldn't link ward or state, but maybe some of the words don't link to.
It's all statute system. It's been bred into. It's like religion. It's like if you're a
sure.
Protestant, I try to make you a Catholic or vice versa. Way back in the days when we believed in all that really seriously, you're wasting time. You're not going to be able to do it. So it's so hard to get people to see common sense, humanity, caution, and prudence. That's all the law is. Books in common law would fit into a 6x6 square, where in the statute system you take a library with 3 or 4 floors, and it's mostly all common law stretched out to the beyond belief. And each word, like if I said to you the factor, and you think, well, that's a factor of what a factor is, but then a factor changes everything in law. If you write to the register of a court and you type in to the factor, well, that makes them the agent, and you the principal. The word factor change in law changes everything. So it's the words. It's like this is a notice. Now this is an adjective. An adjective changes everything after that, which makes it the color of law if it's in law. So the words we use has been pushed into us, bred into us, and we have to believe it. But you gotta do the Dead Poets Society movie. Stand on the table and have a look around, thinking for different perspective, and we've been laughed at, lied to, and BS'd so beyond belief, and then drummed into us with the coverts and stuff. So really, it's hard. It's hard to change people.
And going back, continuing with our little theory of we've got this guy, so we've made a lawful arrest. He's been assessed or whatever. He's been judged by the 12 men and women. I think it is men and women, or is it just men?
Men and women.
Men and women. Okay.
Well, if it's a serious crime, if it's a serious crime, assault and stuff, you really should hand them over to the system at the moment, because at the moment we don't have the facilities, jails and stuff. So
that's what I was going to ask.
Who's committed a serious crime, of course we're going to take them into the police, and they will accept them because we found them committing. And in statute law, they find committing, you take them into the police station. But unfortunately, some of the police stations don't even have staff anymore. I really feel sorry for them because they get abused, and the crime is so dangerous. The chances of getting injured during the day or night is really high. So a lot of the stations have no police. And England was the same. I went to where I was a special constable years ago, a massive big station closed.
Yeah, I know. It reminds me of that movie Precinct 49 or something, precinct
Oh,
43.
1884.
Was it precinct 84? Was it?
84. That movie where the futuristic movie where was it?
No, no, it
Oh,
wasn't. No, it was a real live, It was a precinct, a police station in America, but there was so much stuff going on outside, with guns and fighting or whatever. They were like imprisoned in their own
oh
station.
yeah.
Yeah. And again, they tell you what's coming our way. It's a great movie. I think it's called Precinct 43, something like that. Anyway,
Oh,
I remember when I first watched it many years ago, I was captivated. I watched it years later. It wasn't so good, but the idea there is they're all being imprisoned because there were more baddies than goodies. And I think, like you're saying, if the police stations are being closed down, how therefore are the sheriffs going to have that, that power or that confidence, that courage to go and arrest somebody if the police aren't doing it?
oh well, what we're gonna do, and it's on the cards, and it's going to take a little bit more time. By mid this year, we'll have it. We will have a building, sheriff's office, and a jail.
Brilliant.
A jail.
In each shire.
Oh,
Eventually.
well, yes, we'll all have them. In fact, we've got a place already, but we haven't. We're not gone to that stage till we're going to get black and white cars with the sheriff's office on them, and a number where people can ring up for help. And we probably will patrol some areas to help stop the crime during the day. We'll do it as voluntary because we're all volunteers, just to help help the police in a sense, because we're not that. As I said, we're not in competition, but we do have the authority to arrest and do whatever necessary to do that if we find people committing any crime.
And
we have to start off small.
Absolutely, baby steps.
Crime is an industry here, and the corporations running the country, they don't want it to stop because they want this harmony. They don't want people happy.
Yeah.
They want you to own nothing and be happy, and they make it harder. And they really, crime is encouraged. I mean, they really do, because the poor cops arrest them. They do the paperwork, and they're still doing the paperwork. They're out on bail, and some of one particular guy, young kid from a foreign appearance, he was on bail 6 times, and he stabbed a doctor to death. So I mean, that's how bad it is.
Yeah. And that doesn't give the police force any sort of joy, does it? Because they think, well, we're doing our job, bringing them in, and then they're being turfed out again. So they think, why should I bother?
Oh, they're risking their lives absolutely.
Because not everybody's bad in this, is it? And they're just following. They're doing what they've been trained to do.
And it's our fault, the people. We've let this happen.
Absolutely, it's our fault. We can't blame anybody. We've let this happen. You've made a couple of points about working with people and working alongside the police and making them your friends, and that is so important.
Oh, yeah.
That is so important, because I think we have to work together in this. The systems are in place, and they could work if we've got the right hierarchy. If we've got the right bosses as such, if there is a boss. But you know what I'm saying? That the people at the top, the corruption that needs to be removed. We do have the system in place, but we have to work together. And I think when I've been speaking to people recently, it's about this the word divisive or division. It's so important that we remove that, because again, in war or in anything, divide and conquer. If you're separating people, you become weaker. So even when you disagree with somebody, you've got to, I think personally, you've got to overcome that disagreement until you both agree, because otherwise there's that division. When you say, okay, well, let's, we beg to differ, or let's agree to differ and go and have a beer or coffee or something, you still are divided in whatever that opinion is. And I think it's very important for us to really work through that as a community, starting as an individual, to talk to each other so that you don't have this division, work it out. And that's when people say, oh, as you've just said, it's our fault. It is our fault, but we've got to do the inner work ourselves. We've got to learn to be kind and compassionate and forgiving and get rid of the bitterness, and then we can move on. But I think until we've done that, we've got a long way to go. Like that.
Yeah, it's power of the people. I thought I heard myself there.
Power of the people. You're big the penguin. Yeah, power of the people. Power of the people.
And then where that power, as I said earlier on, it has to come through something. So I said it comes through common law, the sheriff's office, and you carry on. That's where the power comes through. And you don't need, there's no committees. So when you have a problem,
Yeah.
We send a message out on Telegram to people to tell other people, and the word gets out in a few minutes, and we have enough people to raise a jury, raise bailiffs for the day, and the court. We have adjudicators which come in and sit down like they've been sworn in. They come in and adjudicate. They're just to look at the law aspect. No, you can't say that. You can't do that. They're just adjudicators, like which a magistrate's supposed to be, or a judge, adjudicator.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's common sense, and it's all recorded. And the paperwork done. We've got court seals signed, delivered. You look at our common law website, you'll see that we put a lot of the indictments up there, and
Yeah.
you can look at them and you'll see the seals on them. We're getting better as we go along, but everything is a learning process, and the whole idea behind it is it's just somebody must make a stand. Enough is enough, and that's what I did, and that's why I'm still doing it at this age. Which
Fantastic.
is, I'd rather be playing golf or doing videos with you and stuff like this.
I know. I know. Well, you look amazing. You do, and I think it's amazing what you've done. But a lot of us would rather be doing other things. But we know we've been put on this earth to do this work, really, and it is exhausting.
So, do you want to tell me what you're up to with the freedom movement? Is it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I set up the Freedom Network 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Whenever all this stuff kicked
I remember
off.
talking to you in the early days. Yeah.
Yeah, in the early days, and because I could see what was coming, and I thought, oh crumbs, we need to group, but we don't need somebody to boss anybody around. We just need to set up, or like you're saying, shires, dominions, or groups of people, communities all over the world, and so that you can meet together and sit down and decide what you want to do. And obviously, we all want to kind of do the same thing, and have a nice life, be happy, own what we want, and be happy. And work for it, and that's what I set up, and it was major, it was massive. In the early days, I was just inundated. I'd be sitting at the computer all day, every day. It messed me up physically, because my life changed. Where I know we were in lockdown. For those that chose to be locked down, I didn't. But if I try and teach a yoga class, my yogis, they wouldn't turn up because it's all not allowed out and stuff like that. Oh. And yeah, life just changed. But then somebody said to me, "Oh, you're obsessed." And previously I would have said, "No, I'm not obsessed." But I said, "Yeah, I am." I took that. I said, "Yeah, I am obsessed because I know what's coming and I know what's happening and I know somebody has to do something. So I'll take that. I'll be obsessed." And I was obsessed, I think, and as we still are, because we would like to go and do other things, but we know there's a job to do.
Yeah.
So the Freedom Network is still going. The website's there. In fact, I think 3 or 4 people have contacted me this morning. They want me to set them up a hub, and that's all I do. I go onto the website. There's an interactive map, and then if there isn't a hub in your area, I will just put you down as a point of contact, and then off you go. And in the early days, I would send out letters saying, "This is what I suggest you do. You have to find out for yourself what you want to do. I'm not your leader. I'm not your guru. You know inside what needs to be done." And we're all on that same page. We know we have to have good food. We need to educate our children. We need healthy remedies to our sickness and stuff, all that kind of stuff. And it is coming together. And, it's still there. I'll keep it going for as long as it needs to be. I don't have to do much to it now, but there does seem another influx. And what I am noticing is younger people, which I just love, young men in particular, have been contacting me in their 20s. Good. Saying, are there other young people? I said, well, all I can do is put you on the map in your area, and then people can reach out to you that way. Because that's all we need to do is come together, autonomous groups all over the world, especially in the Western world, though, because that's been, they've been after the West, haven't they? Because the East, the poor countries, poor continents, they've been suppressed since day one. Really, that if you think of Africa, the richest continent in the world, with all its minerals and animals and everything that it's got, and but they live, but the majority of them live in a very poor, they still have mud huts with no running water, because I've built schools in some of these countries and they still have no electricity, no running water, but they live in the richest continent in the world. So something's not right. So we have to get that balance. And yeah, the West has definitely been focused on to bring us down. But like you say, lawfully and for the right reasons, with integrity and with love and with the sovereignty and with the grace of God, or whatever your God might be.
No, God, you're not supposed to mention God anymore, are you?
Oh God, I don't know. Aren't you? Oh, sorry, am I not? Am I going to get?
No. I believe anybody who doesn't believe in God has got to be an idiot. I mean, you've only got to look at the system, how it works. I mean,
Yeah.
the mechanism of breathing alone is just magic. No, but you're in a good position with that setup now to convert that into a very serious lawful organization and with a lot of power
Yeah.
in the sheriffs.
I mean, I would do if people wanted, but so many people have dropped by the wayside, and that's what's so frustrating. So frustrating. And people say, "Oh, I haven't got time," or "Haven't not
Oh,
many
yeah,
people
no, yeah,
with me,"
yeah. All
And
right,
I say,
Jack.
"Yeah, all right, all right. You have to make time because it's your future, your children's, your great. It's a future for humanity, isn't it?" Like you say, I've turned, last year I turned 60, so I've still got a little bit of oomph left, but I should be looking towards retirement really. But I've never worked so hard, I've never been so busy in
I'm
my
working
life.
harder now and I don't get paid for
I've
it.
never done before. And we're part way through our lives. We're in the autumn of our years, but we're doing it for the youngsters and the young people say, I'm so busy. But I said, yeah, we all are. But it's a choice, isn't it? Everybody has their individual journey. Everybody can do their bit. And I'm not judging them. I'm just saying it would be nice if you did sort of step up and do a little bit more, even keeping the hubs going. You don't have to, just be the contact, the point of contact or
Well,
something. So
you
get
better
through.
you better because I heard on good word that the Labour Party is going to get in the next time, and
Yes.
the Labour Party are the
Mhm.
are they're my personal opinion. They're owned by the Democrats, so that's my personal opinion. I'm sorry. Yeah, anyway,
Well, I don't think it's just yours. I think when you know what's been going on in the world, whether you're blue, red, green, orange, pink party, rainbow party, these alphabet party, there's somebody pulling your strings at the top, isn't there? Again, we think we live in a democracy that we can vote this one or this one, and it doesn't make a difference. We think, oh, I voted that one, so this is going to happen. It's just again,
well,
yeah,
the
a
Labour
way of,
Party apparently I heard it from good source in England
yes.
that the Labour
Oh yeah,
Party will get in, and that will
I'm
be
sure.
the
Yeah,
end of England completely, mate.
yes,
Completely,
yeah.
'cause
Cool.
it's run by a private company now anyway. So
Well, that's right. I think I'll take back my words from previously, what I said about leaving the country. I think I'll come back to Australia and live there.
there's
Or
there's
Portugal, somewhere hot in the sun. No, I know, I'm staying put. I'm only joking. I'm staying put.
there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere safe.
I know. Exactly. Yeah, and that's very true because they know exactly what you're doing with with the phones, unless you've got
Yeah.
de-googled phones or yeah. Yes, exactly. I suppose once we get rid of these things, but we like them. I wouldn't be talking to you, would I, if we didn't have
No,
technology and
well,
phones?
technology is
Other side
great,
of the world. It
but they
is.
do.
It's just got,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're listening to us right now, so we
that's
love
right.
you.
Hello. Yeah. Cool. On that note, Barry, I'll let you go because I know it's getting late over there, and it's been fabulous. We can do another chat later, unless there's anything else you would like to say. Is there anything? No, I had a few notes there, but I've asked all my questions.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
I think we've covered a lot. We've been talking for
quite a lot.
a while, and look, we'll anytime again just give us a call and we'll have a chat. And
Lovely.
if you need any help with that with sheriff's office and stuff, don't
I
hesitate
think
to
so.
contact me.
Yeah, my mind's already going. So yeah, I'll take you up on that. But so thank you for joining me on Wise Women Weekdays. And to the viewers, if you are watching, thank you very much. Please do like, subscribe, and make some comments if you've got any comments to this. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much, Barry. I'm just
Goodbye.
going to try and
Bye
yeah,
bye,
goodbye.
everybody in the UK. God bless and Godspeed.